The state motto is live free or die, and the state records law is called right to know. Both of those sound very confident. Over the past 2 weeks, this show's research team sent the state of New Hampshire and the city of Concord some questions. Questions about the state forensic laboratory, about a criminalist who worked there for decades, about an internal affairs policy, about a grant check the city itself signed, and what came back was a masterclass in bullshit, not in transparency, in moves. The little bureaucratic judo throws the government uses when it would very much prefer you go away. So tonight, we're doing something different. I'm going to show you the letters, and I'm going to teach you the moves so that the next time your government uses one on you, you'll know exactly what to do and what you're looking at. Okay? Because this is a masterclass, let me tell you. So, this is a Gracie Gatto podcast. New Hampshire politics, no spin, no fluff. Receipts over vibes, always. And classes in session. Look out! But first, 30 seconds of law school. Don't worry, there's no bar exam, and unlike law school, this is free. Okay, so the New Hampshire Right to Know law is called RSA 91A. It's built on a simple, beautiful idea: the government's records belong to you. Openness is the default. Secrecy is supposed to be the exception. But 91A is a key that fits exactly one lock. It gets you documents that exist. It does not get you answers to questions. It does not get you investigations on demands. And it only works if you ask the agency that actually keeps the record. So keep that in your pocket, okay, if you ever file another right to know request. Because we're about to watch 4 different moves get thrown. And now you'll be able to call them out by name when it happens to you. So move number 1, I call it the hot potato. In late June, our research team emailed the Division of State Police raising concerns about standards at the state forensic lab. On July 6, a paralegal in the Department of Safety's legal unit wrote back the answer, in essence. You didn't ask for records. You raised concerns. Now, concerns are not records requests, so under 91A, no response is coming. And technically, the state is right. A complaint is not a records request. Different key, different law. But watch the potato fly for a sec, all right? So the letter says the portions relating to the Division of State Police were, quote, forwarded to the division to determine whatever next steps they deem to be appropriate. And that's it, end quote. Forwarded to the very division the concerns were about. The agency gets to decide in private what to do with questions regarding itself. That's the hot potato. Nobody says no. The thing just gets tossed somewhere warm and quiet. Except here's what the state may not have considered. A referral is a record, and records can be requested. And we have. So move number 2, the empty drawer. Let's talk about it. So a records request went to the Attorney General's office asking for the disciplinary records of Kevin McCann, a longtime criminalist at the State Forensic Laboratory. The AG's office answers came back July 6 in one sentence. This department does not have any records responsive to your request. Now be careful with this one because the empty drawer is designed to be misread in both directions. So that letter does not mean Kevin McMahon has a spotless record, and it also does not mean anyone is hiding one. It means the AG is the wrong filing cabinet. So McMahon worked for the Division of State Police under the Department of Safety. Asking the AG for his personnel file is like asking your neighbor or your own mail? The polite answer is, we just don't have that here. So notice what the empty drawer doesn't do. It doesn't say, you'll want the Department of Safety for that. The government knows exactly where its own filing cabinets are, and it's under no obligation to draw you a map. And it usually won't. So letter 2 proves one thing, where the records aren't, which this business is still information. I mean, come on. So move number 3, the slow clock. Because the right to know request did reach the right custodian, the Department of Safety received it all. All disciplinary record notices and letters of warnings issued to former criminalist Kevin McMahon from the start of his employment to the present day. And this time, the state did not say no. It did not say, in quote, no responsive records. It did not claim an exemption. It said we need time, scope, workload, the pile of pending requests. The state anticipates needing until September 25th, 2026. The request now has a tracking number, RTK 2026 1798, a real file in a real system with a real deadline the state set for itself. Two details before we move on. Detail 1. The state-owned subject line describes McMahon as former criminalist. Their word, a man employed at the lab for decades, now former. So when, where, why, open questions, September may answer them. So detail 2, and this one's just arithmetic. So New Hampshire holds its primaries in September. So the state's self-chosen deadline lands after voters have voted in races that include people who work in and around the state's justice system. So I'm not telling you that timing was chosen on purpose, and I have no evidence of that, and I won't pretend I do. But the slow clock has a feature worth naming. Delay doesn't have to deny you anything. It just has to outlast the moment when the answer mattered. The state has been asked in writing to move faster. So the public interest argument is sitting right there in the calendar. Now, why does anyone care about one criminalist personnel file? Like, what the hell am I talking about, right? So this is the part tonight where the moves stop being abstract. Because on this one, we're not waiting for September. Some of the receipts are already on my desk. And longtime viewers and have seen them on this show before. June 2014, State of New Hampshire versus Harvey Martell. Kevin McMahon takes the stand and under oath or under cross-examination as the National Telegraph reported at the time, he acknowledges a history of getting his own DNA onto samples he was testing, and a suspension back in 2011 from certain elements of his work. Now, this is sworn testimony, open court, contemporaneous newspaper coverage. That reporting is in our show notes tonight. Now, put a second public document next to that. The New Hampshire's Personnel Appeals Board decision of March of 2024, docket number 2024 D010, upholding a disciplinary suspension against McMahon from 2023. We covered that ruling on this show. It addresses a harassment matter. Something about popcorn. Remember that? So here is what it does not mention. 2011. So DNA, contamination, any of it, nothing. So two public documents, 10 years apart, and the gap between them is the question. After a state forensic witness described a suspension and a contamination history under oath in 2014, the state kept calling him trial after trial, including State versus Owen Labrie in 2015, including State versus Adam Montgomery in 2024, while a disciplinary appeal was pending. Who was told? Which defendants? Which juries? Which judges? Now, this is not a conspiracy theory. That's a document request. There's a difference, and the difference is the whole point of this show. One document is still missing from the set, and I'll name it so you can hold us to it. The actual Martel trial transcript. The newspaper account is real, and it's cited. The transcript is the bedrock, and it's next on our request list. When it lands, you'll see it the same day I do. Promise. And now, move number 4, my personal favorite. The preemptive maybe. So passive aggressive pisses me off. Alright, here you go. So this one comes not from the state, but from the city of Concord. 2 exchanges. So exchange number 1. Our research team asked Concord for its internal affairs policy, specifically about a change to that policy. The city declined to provide it. So sit with that. The rules governing how the police themselves and the city's positioning is that you don't get to read them. So what exactly is the theory under which the public's police accountability policy is not the public's business? That question has been put to the city. The answer, whenever it comes, will be read on this show. So exchange number 2 is where it gets almost artistic. Bullshit artists. Okay, ready for this? Okay. So a records request went to Concord for a grant application from an organization called Thrive. And here's the kicker. That grant application is referenced in the city's own check to Thrive. The city's money, the city's paperwork, the city's reference. I mean, come on. So Concord's response, a preemptive statement that the records might not be producible due to possible 91A exemptions. Very convenient. Might, possible, before anyone has produced anything. So that's the preemptive maybe. The answer that arrives before the search does. No denial you can appeal, no production you can read, just a little fog machine. Switched on early so that when the no eventually comes, it feels inevitable, you know? Now here's the thing about exemptions though. Under 91A, an exemption has to be claimed and justified. Record by record, reason by reason. Now maybe you can have it. Is not a citation. It's a vibe. And you know how I feel about vibes around here. You know, give me facts. So let's put the whole playbook on one card. The hot potato. Your concern gets forwarded to the agency it's about to handle in private. The empty drawer. The wrong office truthfully tells you it has nothing and declines to point you to the right direction. Or the slow clock, rather. So nobody says no. The answer just arrives after it stops mattering. And the preemptive maybe, the exemption, gets floated before the search even happens. 4 moves, all of them technically legal, none of them in the spirit of a law, whose actual literal name is right to know. Now, here's what happens next, and I'm saying it on the record so you can hold us to every word. The Martel transcript being requested, the referral records from the hot potato, requested clock running, our own press request for the McMahon file filed, Concord's internal affairs policy, and the Thrive application pursued, and any exemption claim the city makes will be read on the show word for word so you can judge it for yourself. And Kevin McMahon will receive a written request for comment. The same courtesy, the same deadline. You know, the same deadline discipline we extend to everyone we cover. If he responds, you'll hear it in full. And you get homework. So September 25th, 2026 goes on your calendar. If the state delivers, we read the records together. If the state asks for more time, you'll hear that too. And if that drawer comes back empty, that's an episode of its own. So this is what receipts over vibes actually costs. patience, postage, and a working knowledge of RSA 91A, my future car license plate for the state of New Hampshire. The state set the deadline. We wrote it down. We'll be here when it comes due. The microphone stays on, and this has been the Greasy Gato Podcast, and we'll see you on the other side.